Greetings. Today, the topic which we are going to discuss is network models. When we discuss about network models, two important models, OSI reference model and TCP/IP reference model, has much importance in network domain. First, we start with OSI model. Actually, this OSI model was put forward by an organization, ISO, which is International Standards Organization, which is a multinational body dedicated to wide agreement on international standards. This ISO standard covers all aspects of network communication, and OSI model is one among them. It was introduced in 1970 and was widely used for explaining reference models in network architecture. Now, let us see what are the different layers present in OSI model. Like every other software, this model proposes a structured approach. A 7-layer architecture is being explained about OSI model. Which are the different layers? At the topmost, application layer, which forms the 7th one. 6th is the presentation. 5th, session. 4, transport. 3rd, network. 2nd, data link. And physical layer is the lowermost level. In the slide, you can see the listing of all the layers in detail. So in this slide, a little bit more detailed explanation of OSI model taking into consideration two different machines are shown. In the left side, what you can see is a machine having all the layers present, and in the right side is another machine to which the first machine communicates, and in the middle there is a router machine in which routers, maybe more than one router can be considered, at least 2 is represented here. So let us see what are the different functions of each layer. So the first layer which we are going to discuss is the physical layer, which is the lowermost layer of network architecture. Actually, the physical layer is concerned with transmitting raw bits over a communication channel. Usually, when our system is connected to a cable, the cable gets connected to the computer system's network interface card. Basically, the physical layer is present in the network interface card of a computer. It is a hardware layer. So this lowermost layer is basically concerned with transmitting of zeros and ones. We call it as raw bits. Now, the main design issue of physical layer is we have to make sure that the layer is capable to transmit signals which represents zeros and ones. We will say that the design issue here is to make sure that one side sends a 1 and it is received by the other side as 1 itself. If it is sending a 0, it should be a 0. 1 should not be interpreted as 0 in the other side, and the physical layer is concerned with this duty. Now, the typical questions arising are: how many volt should be used to represent a 1 and how many for a 0? So 1 and 0 must be represented by two different voltages which represents the signal, and how many nanoseconds a bit lasts is determined by the physical layer. If a bit period is determined, it should be equal for 0 and 1. Now, whether the transmission may proceed simultaneously in both directions, or whether one sender, when it sends, it doesn't receive the message, these are all determined by the physical layer. So the mode of transmission is determined by the physical layer. Now, how the initial communication is established between two machines? It is another important factor the physical layer determines. Now, how it is toned down when both the sides are finished transmission? Once the transmission starts, it goes on. After a period, it has to end. How it is stopped? How many pins the network connector has and what each pin is used for? You know, when a cable gets connected to the computer, it has to get connected through a number of pins in the port. So this is determined by the physical layer for a machine. Now we can conclude the functions as the design issues largely deal with mechanical, electrical, timing interfaces and physical transmission medium which lies beneath the physical layer. So this is basically the conclusion of the physical layer. It deals with mechanical aspects, electrical aspects, timing interfaces, physical transmission media. Everything is determined by the physical layer. So now we go to the next layer. Next higher layer is the data link layer. Physical layer is basically a completely hardware layer. Now when it comes to data link layer, the data link layer accomplishes a major task of sending the data as a unit. We call it as data frames. So you have to break the large stream of data into units called data frames, and it is the duty of the data link layer to form data frames. Data frames are actually a few hundreds or thousands of bytes which are forming a unit. Okay, and once the frame is generated, it will be transmitted in a sequential manner from the data link layer to the lower layer, and the lower layer converts it into signals and transmit it through the transmission medium. Now in addition to framing or data framing, the data link layer is concerned with many other additional duties. If the service is reliable, the receiver confirms the receipt of the frame by sending back an acknowledgement. So sending the frame and receiving back the acknowledgement is another important function of the data link layer. Once it sends a frame, it is the responsibility of the data link layer to wait for the acknowledgement from the receiver. So the acknowledgement is received back and it is confirmed that the frame has received there without any error is the duty of the data link layer. Now another main task of the data link layer is to transform the transmission facility into a line that appears to be free of undetected transmission errors to the network layer. So there comes an error control mechanism in the data link layer. So it is concerned with forming or transmitting data frames without errors. This is another duty of the data link layer. So when a frame is received, it is the data link layer which checks whether the received frame has any error or not. So that forms the another important duty of the data link layer. Another issue which arises, which data link layer deals with, is how to keep a fast transmitter from drowning a slow receiver in data. You know that when a sender sends data, it is sending to another receiver. The receiver may not be receiving this data in the same pace, or it is not capable enough to accept these data frames in the same speed in which the transmitter does. So by intelligently acknowledging that my receiver is a slow one, it will maintain a flow control mechanism. Okay, so the flow control is another important duty of the data link layer. So some traffic regulation mechanisms are needed in order to do this flow control. Enough buffer space is required, and buffer space management is done by the data link layer to deal with this flow control. So flow regulation and error handling forms another important function of the data link layer. Now another important thing is, sometimes this machine forms a component of a broadcast network. When it comes to broadcast network, other requirement also is very important, particularly the issue of how to access a shared channel. There may be, say for example, 10 computers are sharing a common broadcast network. Computer say A and computer B, simultaneously it is getting ready to transmit data frames. Who will send first? What happens when both of them simultaneously send the data frame? It can get collide and get destroyed. So this is a major issue in the computer network. So if you want to make sure that the data frame is received at the receiving side without any error or without any damage, it has to deal with this aspect. this will be a media access control facility should be there. Therefore, in such computer networks, the data link layer is further developed to have a sublayer in it. A special sublayer of the data link layer called medium access control sublayer deals with this problem. In such networks or in such machines, the data link layer's medium access control sublayer deals with who has to transmit the data frame at that moment, who has to wait for a bit. So media access control sublayer and its controlling is dealt with the data link layer. Now we come across with the third layer. We started with the lowermost physical, now we reached data link, and the layer above it is called the network layer. The network layer is specifically a software oriented layer. In the diagram you can see how the data unit has a particular structure when it comes to network layer. In the diagram you can see from the higher level transport layer, when the packet is received or the unit is received to the network layer, it is having a data part and a header part. Understood? This header part, which is represented in the slide as H3, is actually generated and appended with the data by the network layer. So network layer is basically doing some additional work in order to fix some components to form a particular unit. We call it as packets. Now let us see what are the functions of the network layer. So to form this unit with this particular information, the network layer is concerned with addressing. Basically, fixing, addressing and routing is the most important function of the network layer. So basically, fixing of logical addresses in the packets. In the previous slide itself you have seen in the brown colored area H3 header. H3 header contains a logical address for the packet so that this packet will reach the intended receiver itself. This is done by the network layer. The proper address for the packet which is transmitted from the sender is fixed by the network layer. Also, the routing job. The packets have to be routed from the source to destination. So when a packet arrives in the network layer, it is the job of the network layer to check whether the received packet actually belongs to this particular computer. If it is not, it will reject it. Similarly, in order for the packet to get received at the receiving side, it fixes the addresses. So address fixing and routing are important functions of the network layer. If we deal with a router machine, what is a router? You all know that routers are special hardwares or computers which is having three important OSI layers only: physical, data link and network layer, in which the network layer is highly structured and developed. In router, the main job is doing routing. So from a sender normal computer, the packets are traveling and reaching a router. It enters the data link layer. From the signal form, it reaches into a bit oriented form. In the data link layer, it forms the frame. From the frame, it goes up to the network layer where it is received as a packet. There the checking happens. The router checks whether the received packet is actually moving to which particular route. It has many routes in front of it. So it will properly guide that packet to a particular route by inspecting it. So we call the router network as a subnet. Okay. So the network layer is basically concerned with the operation of the subnet of the routers. Also, it is the network layer which is concerned with data communication between heterogeneous networks. Okay. And also congestion control. The most important difficulty faced in the routers is too many packets arrived at the router, and it has to deal with this packets without losing any of them. So proper buffering and proper congestion control has to also be done for the network, otherwise the packets will be lost. So this congestion control is another important function of the network layer. Now you see in the diagram a detailed representation of what is happening is shown. You can find an end system A, and you can also find D and F in the slide. So from A, what you can find is a data unit through a link goes to an intermediate system. Okay, intermediate system is represented by X, which represents a router there. Okay, from the router it will choose a particular path or a link. Here it is shown in pink color, the route chosen, and using that link it goes to another router. That another router is termed as E. From there it finds a link and finally it reaches the end machine. So here you can see that when a packet reaches a router, there a determination of which path to be selected is being done, and finally it reaches. And to represent what actually is happening in a structured manner, below you can find the physical data link and network layer of each of the machine. A, you can see B, which is the router, is being shown. E is another router. F is the end machine. So in all these machines, whether it is router or machines, you can find all the three layers existing. Now we come across with the next higher level, the transport layer. So transport layer is basically doing two important jobs. The first job is when it gets packet from the higher level session layer, it has to do a job. The reverse job is done when the packet is sent by the network layer to upside. So split data units from session layer and fix sequence numbers and maintains order of the message unit is the main job of the transport layer. So transport layer we can say is concerned with fixing of sequence numbers. It is also concerned with reassembling and arranging the packets which are received in orderless fashion. You know, in internet, when we send packets from one side to another side, it goes through different paths and arrive in a garbled order at the destination. So once it is received in the destination, the packets are not in a sequence. So it is the job of the transport layer to reassemble these packets based on the sequence numbers. So when it sends data, this particular machine's transport layer is concerned with fixing of sequence number in it, so that the destination transport layer, when it receives this packet, is able to reassemble it. Okay. Then additional job is to ensure error-free end-to-end communication, which has to be successfully done. So end-to-end error-free communication is ensured again by the transport layer. We have to understand one thing. Every layer is playing a part in error control or flow control. Okay, it is not the job of a single layer alone. So transport layer is a true end-to-end layer which is concerned with this particular aspect. In the diagram you can see similarly data part and you can see the header part. In the transport layer itself, the sequence numbers are fixed in the header H4. The H4 represents the sequence number along with other error control mechanism fixed in the data unit. Now we come across with the session layer. Session layer allows users on different machines to establish sessions between them. You know, when we are doing a communication process, one person talks, then he stops. Then the other person talks, the other fellow who already stopped listens to him. So such a communication, a dialogue has to happen between machines also. Every time a sender is sending and the receiver is receiving may not happen. So this dialogue control is basically the job of the session layer. So session layer on different machines establishes sessions. We call this as sessions. When machine A is transmitting, the session is on. The other machine is asked to listen for some while. Once the session ends, it indicates that the session has ended. The other machine can start sending it. So session control. Along with the session control, various other services are also being done by the session layer. Which are they? Dialogue control, token management, and synchronization. Dialogue control means keeping track of whose turn it is to transmit. So it is done using a peculiar mechanism. So dialogue control is done by the session layer using maybe tokens. So token generation and token management is another important function of the session layer to establish dialogue. So preventing two parties from attempting the same critical operation at the same time is done through tokens. Token is a small data frame. Whoever is having that token in the network is allowed to transmit. No one is permitted to transmit at that time. Once it finishes transmitting, it will release the token and the token circulates through the network and somebody else will receive it. Whoever receives it has to again start the session. So this token management is done by the session layer. Now the synchronization. The checking long transmission to allow them to continue from where they are left off after a crash happens in machines. When a file is being transmitted, many a times it breaks. When the link is again established, we have to start from the point at which we actually stopped. So from that point, we have to restart. It is not necessary that we have to again transmit all the files which already transmitted or the data units. If say a file is of say 2 MB, almost 1 MB data packets have been sent. The line has lost a connection, and after that we have established a connection means we have to send the balance part only, not the previous one. So this is managed by the session layer. Now it comes to the presentation layer. Now we are reaching to the higher levels. Okay, basically the network layer, transport layer, session layer, presentation and application layer are truly software layers. Maybe network layer in routers may be incorporated in the hardware also, but we can surely say that from transport layer, session layer, presentation layer and application are true software layers. It is established, implemented in the software only. Now presentation layer is a layer which is concerned with data compression, similarly data encryption. These two important aspects of data communication is dealt with the presentation layer. When we transmit data from one machine to another, several network threads exist. The network threads are data loss or unauthorized people accessing the data packets. So we are basically following encryption or cryptography in order to prevent it. So if we implement the cryptographic mechanism in our computer, basically we choose this presentation layer. In the presentation layer, we can incorporate data encryption algorithms. So when a person types a message at the topmost layer, which we will study later on in the application layer using an application, once it reaches the presentation layer, the data encryption algorithm or the program immediately encrypts it into another form. An encrypted form of data units are only transmitted to session, transport, network, similarly data link and the physical layer and get transmitted. So it is up to the presentation layer to perform this data encryption job. Similarly, when you receive packets from the lowermost layer, the packets gets transformed and reaches to the presentation layer. There it decrypts it. So data encryption means it is encryption plus decryption. So encryption, decryption, cryptographic job is the major function of the presentation layer. So we will say that presentation layer is concerned with determining a format for the data which is to be exchanged between communication parties or entities. Okay. Then another important task is data compression. In computer networks, bulk amount of data has to be transmitted from one machine to another one. So the major problem is if large amount of data is being transmitted, what happens is the network may become slow. So what basically we used to do is we are employing some computer mechanisms by which we can compress data without losing its quality. So there are many data compression algorithms present which can be incorporated so that the actual form of data can be in a compressed form without losing the quality. So data compression is another important job of the presentation layer. Okay, now we will deal with the topmost layer which is called the application layer in the OSI model. Application layer is the layer which a normal user actually interacts. So when you are sitting in front of a computer which is connected to internet, you may use many applications. You may be using a chat software, you may be using an email software, you may be using a web browser. Okay, basically all these forms the components which are the part of the application layer. The application layer interacts with application programs and is the highest level of OSI model, we can say like that. This layer contains management functions to support these distributed applications. Sometimes these applications are distributed across various machines. So that distribution is managed. Whether it is a standalone application, then the user interface and its associated components forms the application layer. Okay. Now the examples of application layer includes file transfer components, electronic mail softwares, remote login softwares, browsers, chat softwares, and the associated protocols. There are many application layer protocols associated with the application layer. And in this diagram, I have summarized all the functions in concise form. You see the physical layer, the main job is, as we summarize, bits over a transmission medium has to be managed. When it comes to data link layer, framing, error control, hop to hop delivery. When it comes to network layer, packet formation, routing. When it comes to transport layer, we will deal with process, message delivery and error-free transmission, reliable transmission, sequencing. When it comes to session, dialogue controls, terminating and managing sessions. Presentation layer, data encryption and data compression. And finally, application layer allows access to network resources through the applications. Okay, with that, we conclude this particular reference model. Thank you.